following the loss in a pair of special elections this week. This could be very interesting. How will she respond? A lot going on Capitol Hill. We're going to begin with health care. CNN's Phil Mattingly following that. Phil, they are behind closed doors. What are we learning?
Yeah, and I think the interesting element here, John, is what they're actually learning. Obviously, there's been a lot of frustration voiced by a lot of rank-and-file senators. They didn't know the direction that this bill was heading. We're now getting a sense of that from people who have seen the draft of the bill that's now being presented behind closed doors. And in many ways, John, interestingly enough, it very closely resembles what we saw out of the House. But there are key tweaks there that are crucial, at least according to Senate leadership, to trying to get more of their members in line, to try and get those 50 that they need. If you want to run through it real quick, I think it's very important to know what the House bill did to the Medicaid program on the whole is dramatic reform, changing it to per capita grants, changing the federal funding structure. The Senate bill, as it's currently drafted, would go much further, actually dramatically cutting how federal funding is spent, tacking it on to kind of how the gauge, how the measure of the spending grows over the course of the years. It also changes from the House bill the Medicaid expansion, how quickly it winds down. That is an important point for several senators who come from Medicaid expansion states. It will be a more gradual process than the House process, but it will still come down. Now, there's also a shift in how people will be able to finance some of their subsidies or their tax credits for health care. The House bill was more tacked on to age. This will be more tacked on to income as well. When it's compared to the Affordable Care Act subsidies, that was set at a level, maximum level of 400% from the federal poverty level. This would be dropped down to 350%. So there's a lot of changes in here that we're seeing. I think it's worth noting, John, this isn't the final bill. There will be opportunities to amend the bill, and we're told right now that senators that have concerns behind closed doors, it's very likely that at some point, if those concerns are multiplied by several senators, they may actually be addressed. But I think the big question here is, as this is presented, when senators start to come out, how they feel, what signals they give. Obviously, there's another important kind of aspect here. The CBO score should come early next week. That'll help a lot of senators trying to make up their minds. But again, all that matters to Senate leaders right now, how do you get to 50 votes? This policy is extremely important, not just on the political level, but also for just everyday individuals. Can they get their members there on both of those fronts? We'll see. They still want to vote as soon as next Thursday, John.
And we were watching for those first reactions, their faces when